glad in it. Welcome to River Point Church. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Yeah, let's stand on our feet. We'll sing some songs together. This is Liz. This is Savannah. I'm Anthony. Let's clap it out, y'all.
A lamp unto my feet. Your way is the only way for me. It's a narrow road that leads to life, but I wanna be on it. Oh, it's a narrow road, the mercy's wide, 'cause you're good on your promise. I'll take you at your word. If you said it, I'll believe it. I've seen how good it was. You started, you'll complete it. I'll take you at your word. You're good on your promise. You spoke
brokenness. Praise you so I don't forget who you are. I praise you when I lost my way. I praise you when I'm so afraid. I praise you 'cause I never change who you are, who you are. So weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Joy comes in the morning. Weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Joy comes in the morning. Yeah. Come on, y'all. I praise you when I'm empty-handed. I praise you when I feel abandoned. I praise you 'cause I'm not alone. You see me. And I praise you when the road is long. I praise you when my faith is gone. I praise you 'cause you hear the song I'm singing. I'm singing. Weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Yeah, joy comes in the morning. Sing it out, y'all. Yeah, weeping may endure for the night. What? Joy comes in the morning. Joy comes in the morning. I will fear no evil. I know you are with me. Closer than I think you are. You're closer than I think you are. Yeah, fighting all my battles, fighting every shadow. Closer than I think you are. Yeah, closer than I think you are. See, I will fear no evil. I know you are closer than I think you are. Yeah, closer than I think you are. And you're fighting all my battles, lighting every shadow. You're closer than I think you are. Closer than I think you are. Sing this part, y'all. See, weeping may endure, yeah, but joy comes in the morning, and joy comes in the morning. Y'all sing, say, joy comes in the morning. Sing a little louder. Joy comes in. Sing a little bit louder. Joy comes in. Oh, one more time, yeah. Joy comes in the morning. I will fear no evil. I know you are with me. Closer than I think you are. Yeah, closer than I think you are. You're fighting all my battles, every shadow. Closer than I think you are. Yeah, closer than I think you are. Yeah, yeah. So weeping may, oh yeah, but joy comes in the morning. Yeah. Oh, see, weeping may endure for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Yeah, joy comes in the morning. Joy comes in the morning. Yeah. Amen.
Amazing job, man. Y'all sound so beautiful. Keep singing with us.
No height nor depth can separate. Steadfast love, who can escape? Your faithfulness and endless sea, so full of grace and mercy. We sing, God, come on, is so good. God is so good. God is so good. He's so good to me.
Yeah. Y'all got it down.
My innocence has been restored. Forgiveness flows from your grace. Thank you. Your kindness shown in all your ways. We sing, God is so good. Oh, God is so good.
If you believe it, raise your hand in the air and sing it.
God is so good. He's so good to me. Yeah. There's never been anyone like you. Never been anyone like you. You are worthy. You are worthy. There's never been anyone like you. Never been anyone like you. You are worthy. You are worthy. Hope is rising. Hope is rising like the sun. Oh, the old is gone, the new has come. I fix my eyes on Christ alone. My rock, my shield, my cornerstone. We sing, God is so good. Oh, God is so good. Oh, my God is so good. Oh, he's so good to me.
God, you are so good.
God, you are good. We'll stand on your promises, God. You are good. You're so good to me.
God bless you. Thank you all so much for singing with us. Please take your seats.
Hey guys, before you actually sit down, sorry, I'm gonna make you stand up. We still have a bunch of new families coming in, so can I get you guys to move towards the center to allow those families room to be able to sit down? Thank you all. Well, thank you for our incredible band. Man, I just love how they can uplift our spirit like that, and y'all sing beautifully. Well, thank y'all for that. Hi, my name is Melissa, and I'm on staff here at the Richmond campus. And I just want to say to all of you watching online and here in the room, we are so glad that you are here. Welcome. Hey, yeah, if you happen to be a guest in the room, we would love to connect with you. And we want to know how we can encourage and support you. So would you let us know that you're here? You can do that by scanning the QR code in the seat back in front of you or up here on the screen. You can also flip over that welcome card to the blue side, fill out the information, and drop it off at one of our giving boxes on your way out. And I promise we're not here to spam your inbox. No one needs more of that. But what we will do is send you an email of all the amazing things that we have upcoming at our campus for you and your family, and a free coupon for a free meal on us. But hey, why wait? It's beautiful outside. The storm has passed, so you should hold on to that welcome card, take it out to our yard and grill, and enjoy a free meal on us today. Well, hey, in a few weeks, it's Father's Day, and we love to celebrate dads here. Yeah, you can clap for that. Woo! We love to celebrate dads here in a fun way, so how about a concert? Wow. Yeah. Next Thursday only, not next Thursday, on Father's Day, on Thursday only, out in our yard and grill, we're gonna have a concert. It's also gonna be pizza, free Bluebell ice cream, some great music. So you guys should enjoy your friends and family, bring them along, enjoy that concert. And if you've never checked out a Thursday service, what a great time to do that. You can go to the concert and then head over here. But hey, if you like to celebrate Dad on Sunday, it's gonna be all about the bacon and root beer floats. So guys in the room, invite your dads, come out and hang out with us on the 15th and 18th. Well, speaking of things upcoming, next Saturday, we are really excited. Out by our lake, we are bringing back our fishing frenzy. It is such a blast. It's a great time for guys to come out and hang out. It's for dads of all ages. Kids, it's a great time to celebrate your dad early for Father's Day, and no fishing experience is required. Hey, maybe you don't even like to fish. I would tell you still come out, hang out with the guys. It's a great time. But if you are one that loves fishing, we're going to give prizes away to the top 3 fishers, and I hear there's an 18-pound catfish out in that lake, and hey, I just want to see one of you men capture that. So it's going to be a real good time. Make sure you grab your pole and your bait and come celebrate and hang out on that Saturday. You can sign up by going to rpc.me/events. Well, it is your giving that impacts our local community and those all around the world, where we can bring the love and hope of Jesus. So if you call River Point home, we need your help to support this mission financially. It's easy to do. You can text your campus keyword to 77977, or you can grab that giving envelope in the seat back in front of you and drop that off at one of our giving boxes on your way out. Thank you for your generosity. Well, up next, I'm going to pray. We have one more song, and then we are kicking off a brand new series called Staycation. And to do that is our West End campus pastor, Abe Matos, is in the house. Yeah, woo! So, would you pray with me? God, thank you for each and every person that's here, Lord. Whatever we are facing or celebrating right now, God, may we know you are so good. Help us to trust your heart regardless of where we find ourselves. Prepare our hearts and mind to receive your message today. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
I love you, Lord, for your mercy never fails me. And all my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, oh, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful, oh yeah. And all my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, I'm gonna sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. Darkest night, you were close like no other. See, I've known you as a father, I've known you as a friend, and I have lived in the goodness of God. So good.
what's going on, everyone at River Point and West End Church? Welcome to church. Yeah, you can clap. It's all right. We can be happy to be at church. Hey, my name is Abe, and I get the privilege of being one of the pastors here on staff at River Point and West End. I want to welcome everyone that's joining us, starting with the fellas over there at the Ramsey unit. We're so glad that you're doing church with us today. Also, everyone that's joining us from Missouri City, go stop by and see your campus pastor, Chad Harold, and also everyone that's joining us at West End Church. That's the campus I get the privilege of leading. So sorry I couldn't be there this morning, but if it's your very first time there at West End, go stop by and say hi to Pastor Jairus, or as we affectionately call him, T. And I'm going to ask a favor of everyone over there at West End. Will you annoy T for me? Because you see, Jairus is kind of a thorn in my side every once in a while, and he likes to make jokes, so go and harass Jairus over there at the West End campus. And then everyone that's joining us online, thank you so much for doing church with us. And of course, our friends here at Richmond, you guys happy? You guys here? You glad you're here this morning? Awesome. Great. Good stuff. Hey, really quickly, an aside, we are working on something across all three campuses, West End, Missouri City, here at Richmond, and we are wanting to put something together for folks that are in their 20s, young adults specifically in their 20s. Here's what I know about 20-year-olds at Missouri City and Richmond. It can be lonely for y'all out here in the burbs, okay? So we at the West End campus, we are the city folk, we want to do something where we can gather everyone together and help remind you that you are not alone in this world. And listen, young adults need all the support that they can get. Do y'all remember what it was like to be in your 20s? You guys remember how awful that was? Can we help them out? We want to provide a space where y'all can meet one another. Again, be reminded that you are not alone in this life. And we don't know what we're doing yet, but we just know we want to get everyone together, and it's going to be fun. We're going to spend a lot of time and energy putting some effort into it. So if you're in your 20s here at Richmond, over there at Missouri City, or over there at West End, I'm putting you on notice that we've got something cooking, and our first event is going to be on Monday, June 26th. So mark your calendars and save the date. Hey, listen, we're launching a year where people go on vacation. We just celebrated Memorial Day weekend. That's the official kickoff of summer. Did anybody have fun Memorial Day plans? And we do something great, awesome. Over there at West End, there was no one at church last Sunday, so I hope that you had some good plans. I hope you had fun while it was just me and 5 of us. But listen, this is a time of year where so many of us go away and we travel, we go on trips, we go on vacations, right? But in my opinion, my humble opinion, this may not be a popular opinion, but I think vacations are overrated. Let me tell you why. Let me build my case. How much time goes into planning a vacation? How much money do you spend on vacation? Before you even go on vacation, how many hundreds and thousands of dollars do you blow just on flights alone? Here's my strongest case against vacations is people. And I'm not talking about the people that are there when you get there. I'm talking about the people you go with. That's stressful. People are stressful. You got to account for people's shellfish allergies. You can't eat where you want to eat. You can't go where you want to go. You have to make sure everyone's happy. Kids, family members, spouses. Can we be real? Vacations were the most fun when we were single. They just were. You got to do whatever you wanted to do. Single people, go on vacation, travel as much as you can while it lasts. It's awesome. And here's probably the worst part about vacations is the fact that when you get back from a vacation, how many of you guys can relate with the feeling of needing a vacation from your vacation? That's the truth, man. Vacations are overrated. You know what? If Patrick Kelly gave me a week off and he said, Abe, you can go wherever you want, you can see whoever you want to see, you can do whatever you want to do. You know where I would want to go? Nowhere. I don't want to go nowhere. Houston's amazing. The greater Houston area is awesome. There's so much to do in our amazing city and its surrounding areas. There's so many places to eat. If I ate at a different place for breakfast, lunch, and dinner 365 days a year, I still would not have enough time to go to eat everywhere there needs to be eaten at in Houston. That's what I want. I just want time to enjoy my city. You know where I really want to go on a staycation? I want to go to Kroger at 11:30 a.m. when no one else is there. I want every aisle to myself. I want to memorize the nutrition facts on every box of cereal. I want to look at every ribeye in the steak aisle and literally pick the best steak. That's what I want to do. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to go anywhere. I want a staycation. Here's the thing about vacations. You want to know why vacations are so alluring? Vacations draw us in because vacations promise an opportunity for us to escape. That's all it is. The reason you look forward to vacations is because you equate distance, physical distance. I'm going 300 miles that way. You equate physical distance with distance from your everyday people and problems. That's why we like to go away. And I'm not, listen, vacations are awesome. They're great. I love to travel. Vacations are great. But the thing is, vacations promise us something that it can't actually deliver on. It can't. What we hope and what we dream vacations will get us, hardly ever does it actually come true. And typically we come back a little tired and we dread having to go back, and it's just, there's something there. It's fun, but there's something missing. And the question that we're going to be dealing with in this series, because we're playing off this idea of a staycation, is can you experience something extraordinary without having to go somewhere else? Can you experience something extraordinary amongst everyday people in everyday places? That's the question, because it is not practical to feel like you need to rely on a vacation to feel better about your life. It's not going to deliver on the joy. So how can we find joy in the here and in the now, exactly where our feet are planted? Is it possible? So we're going to be using this idea, this illustration of a staycation. And the number one tip that we're going to open up with today is if you want to make the most of a staycation in a place that you're familiar with amongst people and places that you have grown accustomed to, the number one thing you've got to do is you have to welcome interruptions, right? If you get the next 7 days off of work, and you've got to stay in the city of Houston, and you've got to have fun, you've got to welcome interruptions, because there are places that you drive past every day, and you've always asked yourself, I wonder what's going on in there. I want everyone to think about what that one place is. For me, it's always food. Okay, it's always food. For me, it's this one raggedy-looking taco truck outside a Shell station by my house. That taco truck, every time I drive past there, I'm like, those tacos are probably amazing. They got to be so good. The more raggedy it looks, the better the tacos are. I want to go eat lunch there one day, but I don't have time. But if I was on a staycation, I would just be driving. Maybe I'm on the way to the gym. I'm on the way to be healthy. I'm going to get a good workout. And I'm like, you know what? Bump the workout. I'm going to go eat there. You got to welcome interruptions. You got to welcome spontaneity. You got to be curious enough to put a pause on whatever it is you thought you had planned and say, you know what? I'm going to blow up the script. I'm going to do something different. But here's the thing about interruptions, because now I'm going to bring it back to real life, okay? Bring it back to real life. If you want to experience something extraordinary amongst everyday people in everyday places, you have to welcome interruptions. The thing is that interruptions are fun when it's food related, but they're not so fun when they're people related. And here's the thing though, people are everything. People are it. We are God's most precious resource. We are his prized possession. We are the best thing about anything, any place where we're at. We, people, are its greatest features. So we've got to live a life, if we want to experience something extraordinary, we've got to live a life where we welcome interruptions by others. And Jesus is going to show us exactly how to do this. We're going to pick up this story in Luke chapter 8, verses 40 through 42. That's how we're going to start off. And this is what it says about Jesus welcoming an interruption. It says that now when Jesus returned, he returned from running an errand. Okay, he did something amazing, like Jesus always did. And he comes back, and the crowd welcomed him. For they were all waiting for him, and there came a man named Jairus, who was a ruler of a synagogue. And falling at Jesus' feet, he implored him to come to his house, for he had an only daughter, about 12 years of age, and she was dying. Okay, so Jesus comes back from doing something. People are waiting for him. This man Jairus comes to beg for his help, and his daughter's dying. So there's three elements that are present in what we've read so far, and I want you to key in on this. The first thing that I want you to key in on is Jesus' popularity. His popularity, it's his fame. Jesus was a celebrity, right? People had heard that Jesus was healing people. He was healing the blind. He was healing the deaf. He was healing the paralytics. He was raising the dead. He was doing all these amazing things. And as you can imagine, that made Jesus a pretty popular guy. So when he shows up on this scene, there's a large crowd waiting for him. This is rock star status. They're waiting to see Jesus' next stop on his miracle tour. The second aspect is this. It's Jairus' status. This man, the Bible tells us, Jairus, whose daughter is dying, is a leader of a synagogue. That would have made him a very important person of the day. He would have been very well regarded. He would have likely been of an elite status. He would have probably been somewhat wealthy. He would have been someone that people looked up to, admired even. Okay, so there's Jesus' popularity, there's this man's status, and then there's an emergency. What's the emergency? The emergency is the man's daughter is dying. Lots of people, a person of status, and a little girl that's dying. Now, here's what I know to be true about most of us. I won't say all of us, because some of you guys are weird and you're outliers. But for the rest of us, if we're being honest, if we were in Jesus' shoes, okay, and we had that kind of popularity, and there was someone as of high status as Jairus was, and there was this kind of emergency that our help was needed, we would love every second of this situation. We would love it. Don't lie to yourself. You would love this. You'd be into this. You would be into the fact that there's all these people that look up to you, that want a piece of you. You would be into the situation because there's this other guy who's really important. He's not as important as you are, but he's pretty important, and he needs your help. And at that, he needs your help right now, and you're the only person cut out for what he needs. We love this kind of stuff. We love to feel important. We love to feel needed. We love to feel valued. This is where we get so much of our self-perception from, is how others perceive us. And who is it that is valuing what we have to offer? And with what urgency? How much of a premium is there on what we can give? But the thing that we see about Jesus, what we're about to read about Jesus, is he handles this kind of situation that would be so enticing to us. All the different aspects that you and I would just love about being in this scenario, we're going to see Jesus completely pivot in a way that's different from how you and I would place a priority and a value on the given situation. So let's read what happens next. The Bible says this, that as Jesus went, remember, he is going to heal this little girl. This is like an ambulance rushing to the scene of an accident. And it says that the people pressed around him. There's a lot of people. And there's a woman who had had a discharge of blood for 12 years. And though she had spent all her living on physicians, she could not be healed by anyone. So she came up behind him and touched the fringe of his garment. And immediately her discharge of blood ceased. And Jesus said, "Who was it that touched me?" I want you to envision this once again. There's a lot of people. They're moving with a purpose. Time is of the essence. This is a very important man who they're going to help. The Bible says that someone, we know who, because we have the benefit of reading the context. More on that later. But that this woman, someone, touches the fringes of his garment. And Jesus stops dead in his tracks. This is a crazy situation because every second counts. Every second counts. Yet Jesus stops. And this is what happens next. When all denied it, because no one stepped forward to admit that they were the ones that touched Jesus, when all denied it, Peter said, "Master, the crowds surround you and are pressing in on you." So this is Peter's being a jerk. It's like, Jesus, what do you mean? Well, I don't get it, Jesus. See, there's a lot of people here, hundreds of us, and in fact, Jesus, I don't know if you noticed, we're all touching you. It's like a mosh pit. What do you mean, who touched you? And everyone else, Peter's just the only one that's bold and dumb enough to say out loud what everyone else is thinking. Because everyone's wondering, what does this guy mean? And again, you have to add the tension of the urgency. This girl is dying. She's dying. And Peter and some of Jesus' followers and other people who were invested enough in the situation would have known that what was at stake here, because you see, the leaders of the synagogue, the Jewish religious leaders of the day, were at odds with Jesus. They did not have a friendly relationship with Jesus. Jesus was like the antithesis of everything they represented. So when this man, who represents the other side of the aisle, comes to ask Jesus for help, you know that this guy is desperate. He's desperate for help because he's likely spent a lot of his time trying to disavow the teachings of Jesus. But now his little girl is dying, and now he takes it that seriously enough, obviously, to go ask for someone who would be his opponent for help. And the people who were invested in this story, that were invested in Jesus, would have been like, Jesus, this is your shot, man. These guys hate you. If you heal his daughter, we all gonna eat. This is gonna be great. It's gonna be just how we planned it. We're gonna take over, you're gonna be in charge, you're gonna have some nice cabinet positions for us. It's gonna be amazing. We're gonna take over Israel. This is gonna be the thing that changes everything for us. So Peter, in his mind, when Jesus stops on his way to go heal this little girl, Peter's thinking the same thing we think all day. Help me fill in this statement. We don't have time for this, Jesus. We don't. I don't get it. What are we doing? Why did we stop? Isn't it crazy that thousands of years ago, when life was very inconvenient, right? There's no such thing as vehicles. All the things that make our lives cushy and convenient, they did not have. There was no such thing as, just stopping by somewhere quickly. Everything took time. Everything was difficult. And Peter's there sitting there thinking like, we don't have time for this. Isn't it crazy that thousands of years later, you have something called a washing machine? And you have a hairdryer, and you have a Tesla. You don't even have time to stop for gas. That's how little time you have. Yet as convenient as life is now, we're all still saying the same thing Peter was saying. We don't have time for this. How much time do you and I waste talking about how other people waste our time? Someone here this week sat in front of their laptop because they work from home, and they sat on a Zoom call with their boss, and they were thinking, why is this guy wasting my time on this? And they thought it so much so that they took the conversation on a private group chat with their coworkers, and they sat there while their boss was trying to communicate whatever he's trying to communicate, and they just sat there talking about how much he was wasting their time. Isn't that crazy? This thought runs across our minds all the time. We're just obsessed with how our time is wasted. Yet what we see Jesus do here is Jesus is actually in a pressing situation. Jesus isn't trying to make it to his bar class on time, right? This is urgent. He's actually trying to save this little girl, right? And even in that kind of situation where time is pressing, he has the time to stop. And what's crazy about it is who he stops for is someone that you and I, if we're being honest, would not make the time of day for, if we're being real. So it's a very uncomfortable truth. But the kind of person, this woman that we read about, is not the kind of person that you and I would stop to make time for. We want to be the kind of people that would stop to make time for her, but that's not who we really are, if we're being honest. At least not on our average day. I'm not even talking about your worst day. I'm not talking about my worst day. I'm just talking about an average day where I kind of woke up, feeling saved. Let me tell you about this woman. The Bible says that this woman had a discharge of blood for 12 years. What did this mean? Listen, there's a little background, history lesson, but Jewish ceremonial law deemed women to be ceremonially unclean while they were on their cycle. And for that period, they would have to quarantine, if you will, and they could not participate in everyday activities amongst everyday people. And there was all these kind of reasons for it in the Old Testament, and I won't get into all that. But the point is that this woman had been dealing with this for 12 years. So that would have meant that for 12 years, she would have been quarantined. From 12 years, she would have been ostracized from regular society. Every month that went by and she didn't get better, this issue did not go away, her social circle would have grown smaller and smaller and smaller. If she had been married, this likely would have been cause for divorce. So if she had been married, her husband likely would have left her. Her close family and friends likely would have eventually gone too. So this woman was very lonely, very lonely. Imagine being considered unclean. And to make matters worse, she had spent all her money on trying to get better and it hadn't worked. So she was now broke. And this is the person that Jesus stops for. This is the person who everyone in that crowd, not only would they have not gone anywhere near her, but they certainly wouldn't have stopped to help her. And while Peter is saying, Jesus, we don't have time for this, Jesus says, no, this is what he says. He says, someone touched me, for I perceive that power has gone out from me. He said, no, Peter, I'm not going anywhere until I know who. Now, what's crazy about this is that we know that the moment she touched Jesus' garment, she was instantly healed. In other words, she got what she had came for. She had wanted him to do. He did for her what was miraculous. He did for her what no one else and nothing else could have solved. So for all intents and purposes, Jesus' job was done. She's better. She now gets to resume her life. It's an amazing story, but it's not enough for Jesus. That wasn't enough for Jesus. It wasn't enough for him to simply heal her. He wanted her to identify herself. Why? Why is that important to him? Well, let's read. It says that, and when the woman saw that she was not hidden, she came trembling and falling down before him, declared in the presence of all the people why she had touched him and how she had been immediately healed. And it goes on to say this, and he said to her, daughter. This is a huge term of endearment. No one would have called this woman daughter for the last 12 years. And he says, daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace. This is why it wasn't enough for Jesus to just heal her. Jesus wanted the interaction. He wanted to look at a woman who society had turned its back on, and he wanted to restore to her not just her health, but her dignity and her significance and her meaning and her value, and he wanted to restore to her the value, the worth that had been robbed from her. That's what Jesus cared about. That's why this interruption was so important to him. Listen, the lesson is very simple. There's just one thing you can't forget leaving from here. It's just one thing that there's many things that Jesus is teaching us, but there's just one for today. And it's this. It's the fact that we all need to be interrupted. We all need to be interrupted. Let me tell you why we all need to be interrupted. Because you and I, everyone at Missouri City, everyone at West End, Ramsey Unit, everyone joining online, we are really important people. And I'm not even saying that sarcastically. I mean it. We are really important. We are. We have a lot going on in our lives, don't we? In fact, let me prove to you how I know that you are important. If you weren't so important, why else would you, on the ramp that goes to 610 North off of 59, why would you skip all the people politely waiting in line and wait for the one sucker that takes his eyes off the road for 1 millisecond to jump in front of him and just, why are you that way? It's because you're important. You've got somewhere to be. You've got bills to pay. You've got mouths to feed. You've got places to be on time. And other people are waiting for you. Other people have high expectations for you. You have demands on your time. You have demands on your resources. You're important. You're so important. And that's why we need to be interrupted. Because other people are important too. I'm important. We are important. But along with that truth comes the other truth that everyone sitting next to you is also important. That everyone sitting next to you in traffic is also important. That everyone across the cubicle at work is important. That everyone in the tiny little Zoom boxes on your laptop, they're important. We're all important. And other people are important too. Which is why we need to be interrupted, because it's healthy for the human heart to realize that your Outlook calendar is not the most important thing on this planet. Your appointments don't take value or precedence or priority over what's happening in other people's lives. And when we welcome interruptions by way of other people unexpectedly, when our plans, when our calendars are blown up by something we didn't expect, by someone we didn't necessarily want to help, when we allow for that to happen, what it does is it aligns our hearts to remember it's not all about me. This is one of the hardest things for an American to understand. For us who grew up in the United States, this is very hard. You want to know why? Because ever since we learned to talk and we learned to reason, we have been told time is money. And we don't like people messing with our money. We don't. Brokenness in us, in our bones, is offended. Like, don't you know what I have to do today? What do you mean you thought you'd ring on my doorbell to sell me something? What do you mean? And people become roadblocks, they become speed bumps, they become obstacles, they become a hindrance, they become an inconvenience. And that's not okay. Let me show you what's so simple and clear about what Jesus does that's so powerful. See, if it was you and I in Jesus' shoes in that moment, we would have prioritized. And 10 times out of 10, 12-year-old dying girl takes priority over everything and everyone else. Does it not? But Jesus doesn't do that. And if we sit there to think about it, if we had been there, we would have been very upset by this. Very upset. Because in our eyes, it would have been Jesus not getting his priorities straight. See, we in our human mind and our finite mind, we have to prioritize, we have to rank. Each and every single last one of us has an economy that we'll never say out loud, but we rank people by significance and importance. Yes, we do. But Jesus, oh, by the way, Jesus gets there late and the little girl dies. Spoiler alert. That's really morbid. I should tell you that he raises her back to life. Okay, so there's a happy ending, but the little girl does die. And knowing that she would die, knowing that the time that he was taking to tend to the woman would cut into the time that he had to get there on time, knowing that, he takes the time to speak with this woman. You want to know why? Because that little girl was not more important than that woman. She was not. We are all just as important as one another in God's eyes. There's not one of us that is more important than the other. God values all of us. All of us. Even the rotten people, yes, unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately, yes. Yes. He values all of us. So how can we welcome these kinds of interruptions in our lives so that we can restore value and worth and significance in those who are struggling? How can we do that? Number one, anticipate the interruptions. Wake up in the morning knowing, anticipating, having a sense, even if it doesn't end up happening, but just being ready. Hey, today may not go as planned. God, have your way. I dare you to pray that. I won't even pray that. That's crazy. Today may not go as planned? What do you mean? Yes, today may not go as planned. God, have your way. Man, that's a struggle for me. I'm the pastor. I'm in charge of people. I'm in the people department, and I struggle with this. But what if we anticipated interruptions? What if we even got to a point? This is like master level stuff. This is like the final level of the video game kind of. What if we were looking forward to it? What if we were looking forward to an opportunity to be interrupted by someone? Second, be curious, be inquisitive, ask questions. Keep your eyes and ears open. Like, hey, what's going on over there? That doesn't look right. They look sad. What's happening? Hey, can I help you? These are the kinds of things that we tell ourselves are only worth doing if we have the time. How many times have you said, oh man, if I had more time, if I didn't have somewhere to be, I would have stopped and helped that. But, today's crazy. What if we were just curious enough, regardless of the fact of whether or not we had time? What if we anticipated? What if we were curious? Here's the third one, which is just as important, is don't be a hero. I'm not preaching this kind of, what I'm not telling and what God is not expecting is for you to save the world. That is not your responsibility. It's not your responsibility to help everyone. If you go out there and you try that, you will burn out in a week. You'll burn out in a week. That's not the point. Jesus was God. He was God in the flesh. The goal here is not to be able to accomplish what Jesus did. It's not to be able to address every need. It's not to be able to address every person. For us, we operate within limitations. We're only one person. We cannot do it all. But there is more than we can do. And the goal here isn't to go beyond our limitations, it's to have our limitations tested. It's to invite the tension in our life where we feel the strain of really bad timing, but I should do something. Less than ideal situation. It would have been great if you got a flat, 30 minutes ago. But it's that. You're inviting that tension where at the very least you struggle. And you won't be able to do it all, but can you do some? Can we do some? Because I'm certainly growing in this area. So can we welcome the interruption? Do you want to experience something extraordinary amongst everyday people in everyday places? If you want God to use you for something extraordinary, welcome interruptions. Anticipate them, be curious, don't be a hero. Let me pray. God, we thank you so much for the way that you value us. God, the gospel, the good news that you came to die for us is something that is so personal, something so intimate, something that we all have to take ownership of. And we have to, I don't think there's a better way to say it. We've got to own that. That's awesome that you love us, but God, that in getting caught up with the fact that you love us, that we would also realize that you love everyone else as well. That everyone else matters to you and everyone else is valued by you. And maybe, just maybe, God, it would just be such a growth that would happen in our hearts and in our minds if we became open to being interrupted by others that you cherish and you love, and Could you use us to remind them that you love them as well? God, this is not an easy prayer to pray. But God, I just pray that we would be people who were more open to that we would anticipate it, that we would be inquisitive, and Lord, that we would be reminded that at the end of the day, this is the world that you created, and we can't be you. We can't solve everyone's problems. We can't be heroes to everyone, but there is something more that we can do. I pray that we would be challenged by that. It's in your name we pray. Amen. Guys, thanks so much for being here on this Sunday.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us today. Maybe you got some questions about the message or your own faith journey, or maybe you just have some questions in general. My information is on the screen, and I would love to hear from you. I hope that you have a great week. God bless you. Hugs and fist pounds all around. We'll see you soon.